We feel our body excited for the stretches that are coming, for the chances to work out our muscles, to move them. And so just be with that excitement. Be with this chance to get to be hugged by fabric. Getting all those gentle acupressure points activated all around our body. Start to feel the breath expanding super deep into the lungs. Huge breaths. All parts of the lungs expanding out and then releasing back in. As we're laying here, let's take a moment to connect with our idea. One more time this week, I'd like to connect with this idea of vulnerability, allowing ourselves to try new things, to be open to new experiences, to have that beginner's mindset, and also to be open for trying new things in that, even if it's embarrassing because you're not sure exactly what to do, we're all in it together. We're all growing together. We're all stretching together. And so know that you are supported. And so because of that, we can be vulnerable. It's almost like there's an unspoken treaty whenever we come to a yoga class where everybody's here just to love you and support you for showing up. And so no matter what efforts you have, no matter how your body's feeling, no matter even if you have to jump out of poses early, we're here, we're so excited to be present. And so with this type of excited vulnerability and the trust in our support system to lead us on to our class today, let's take our nice initial stretches. So arms start to go all the way to point to the back wall. And then start to wiggle your shoulders to the right and shoulders to the left. Take it a few times to each direction. This opens up our side ribs, opens up our shoulder muscles. Sometimes I've talked with some different chiropractors, and occasionally ribs actually turn inward to make it so you can't breathe as fully. So motions like this where we deeply stretch the side ribs can allow the ribs to be pulled back into the normal alignment so that breath can be not impeded. So once more each side. And then once we're back through the center, bring your right knee into the chest, hug around it. This can either be about hugging it in tight for the hip flexor, or it can be about loosening up the ankle, whatever needs it right now. Another good breath. And then straighten that right leg up to the sky. Hands are grabbing onto the back side of the leg to help pull it in. Nice hamstring stretch. Doing these stretches in the morning can feel so nice because the muscles need to be stretched after a whole night of sleeping. So take another good breath through the hamstring stretch here. And then hook this right heel onto the back left part of the fabric, setting it up for the hip opener. So all the way the part of the fabric by the head. Hook it all the way to that back edge. Once you've hooked the heel, the arm hooks around the shin to slide the shin closer to the heart. Just asking the knee and the hip to let us know if this is a good amount, if it wants to go more, if it wants to go less. And try to find it an easeful way to be right here. So not forcing the hip too much, just easing into it. And take another wonderful inhale here. With the exhale, we start to free this leg out. I like to give it a little tug up to the sky one more time, and then we can drop it all the way down. Once we're there, second side, hug the hands around left knee. I like to pull it in as tight as possible or do those nice ankle rolls. And when you're ready, this leg gets to stretch up to the sky for the hamstring. Just hold on to the back side of the leg wherever you can comfortably reach and gently pull it closer and closer to your body. Another huge inhale. And then exhale, we set up for the hip opener. Just slide that heel over to the back right part, hooking it. And then start to slide the shin in closer to the chest. So nice just to be here with the body breathing. So take another huge breath in. And then exhale, let's start to release this leg again. Maybe give it that stretch up to the sky one more time. And then drop it all the way down. From here, the upper body is only freeing its way up to about the armpits, but the legs are kicking free down to the knees. So you've got the head off. You can rest the head in the hands to help support the neck. And then with the legs free off the front end, we're gonna do a little bit of strengthening for the legs and core. So make the legs straight. And then with our exhales, we're going to lift the legs up as high as we can. And then inhale, slowly lower it back down. So just follow the speed of your own breath. Exhales, inhales. Let's take 5 more if we're still doing okay. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Let the legs dangle down. Sit up so that you can scoot the fabric a little bit further down the back, more like the back side of the pant line. And then take a huge back bend, bow pose, all the way arching backward. So you're absolutely welcome to have hands gripping on the whole time. You can also have arms dangled down or hands reaching for each foot. If you've got the foot connection, I like to push the feet into the hands to stretch through the shoulders. Through any inversion, this one included, it's completely up to you and your body how long we stay. Just keep on enjoying it. Keep on breathing into it until your body wants to come up. No rush. Yeah, totally. If you ever need a drink of water, feel free to go grab one. So just hook your elbows. When you do come up, hook your elbows and then your shoulders wiggle forward. This gives your spine a good chance to release, just like a child pose. Let Let the head start to loosen, rocking it left and right. And then from here, sitting back up nice and tall, let's take a boat pose. So our hips are still in the fabric. We start to balance with our knees lifting up. You can hold onto the fabric if you need to, or hover them nice and level with the shins. From here, what we're going to do is extend the toes out, and then exhale, bring the knees back into the chest. Inhale, stretch, and exhale in. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Dropping the knees down, take the hands into the inside. Our right knee comes into the chest. We try to clasp our hands around the ball of the right foot. If that's a little bit too far, grab for the ankle or the shin instead. Leaning back just a hair to help you be in balance. Let this right leg start to stretch up to the sky. It may not go all the way straight, that's okay. As we're waking up and stretching through the muscles, it'll get deeper and deeper as we go. And just enjoy another huge breath right here. Deep inhale. Exhale. Let this knee cross over the other one, so right knee's on top of left knee. Bunch up the fabric to your right side. And then we're gonna take a nice twist. So right arm starts to reach back behind you or circle all the way to the fabric behind your head. Sometimes I'll push the bottom knee into the top knee, helping me to bring that top thigh into the IT band stretch. Basically helping it to go just a little bit past midline. And another good breath in and out. And then as we release, bring the arms back inside for the second side. Left knee comes into the chest. Try to clasp your hands around the ball of the left foot. Lean back just slightly for balance as we start to bring this left leg stretching up to the sky. Be with your body in this. It can be in constant movement, trying to get deeper and deeper, or stillness sometimes is the best thing we can do for it. Take another wonderful inhale. And exhale, left knee crosses over right. Bunch up the fabric on your left. And stretch the left arm behind you or circle it around the head. Perhaps the bottom knee pushes into the top knee, if that feels helpful and good. And another wonderful inhale. Good exhale. And release forward, uncrossing the knees. Heading into an inversion from here, hook the thumbs on the fabric behind you, bring it to the back side of the pant line, and lean halfway back like a tabletop, regripping the hands on. Once you're this far, the last thing you need to do is just Open the legs wide as you continue to tilt backward. That makes sure you don't fall out. And then wrap the ankles all the way around. Once you've got the ankles wrapped around the fabric, you're totally free to let go of the hands. So remember my rule with inversions, you stay as long as it still feels good for your body. Don't feel any sort of competition to stay as long as anybody else. Just enjoy it however long your body is okay. Okay, and if you're still upside down, feel free to head on out, back into our floating child pose. If you've been here for a little while, just let that neck have a few extra moments to stretch out. Okay. So where we're headed from here is kind of funky. So take it with me step by step. The first thing we need to do to head into it is scoot ourselves closer to the part of the fabric that's under our thighs right now. So it's kind of a fun little game of like teeter-totter to get the fabric further back. You lift the knee up like the boat pose, and then you grab a little bit of the fabric under the glutes, and then you rock forward and continue to pass that fabric to the hips. So do that rocking game just a couple of times until you're pretty much right at the end of the fabric. You've got enough to cover your thighs, and that's about it. If you ever want to come all the way out and just grab the fabric just enough to sit in it instead, that's an okay way to do it also. It's like there's two ways to do this.
How much do you need?
Just enough to barely cover up to your thighs. Yep, that looks like that should be good. And then come sit up. Okay. I think we're all more or less here. Keep on playing with this stuff if you need to. What you're gonna do once you're here is take all this extra fabric that's behind you, grab it immediately behind you so that you can reach it up over your head, and then hook your heels into the fabric in front of you. So once you're here, we're just in a nice forward fold for a couple of breaths. Make it as releasing and as restorative as possible. So sometimes it's nice to stack your palms on top of each other so that your forehead can rest down onto your palms. But just let your back release for a few moments. Just nice and comfortable. If it's ever too easy, you can play with it either by straightening the legs out a little bit deeper or straightening the low back and then releasing a little bit further. We're here a few more breaths just to help that low back. This class, I have a lot of poses focused on this low back area, so just be kind to it. Let it release in its own time. Being with our breath, let's take 5 more deep cycles here. Last deep inhale. Beautiful exhale. And where we're gonna go from here is working our glutes free out of the fabric. Our legs are going to stay in the little pocket that they found. We're gonna do it nice and safely, bringing your arms inside the fabric. Eventually, you're working the place to where your waist and your shoulders are the thing that's catching your upper body. So work nice and safe, do it inches at a time. Eventually kind of freeing out your glutes, setting your shoulders and your waist inside. I like to have straight arms, grabbing the fabric. That makes yeah, probably just drop one foot out and then get your shoulders set up. Yeah. You're like, just a little bit too far. You got an extra core workout in. Yep. Okay, you're at your head too, so step your foot down really quick. Oh yeah, you got it. That works. Good, get your shoulders up to your armpits covered. And then I like to have straight arms, so you'll just have straight arms reaching upward, the glutes hanging downward. Fun places today. Yeah, that's what she did and it worked out really nicely. Good, step it down and then just get your shoulders set up so that you're safe. Good. All the way up to armpits. Yep, nice and supported. And then when you start to lean back into it, then you can step your other foot in. Good. So, and arms can be on the, make sure arms are on the inside and just straightening the arms.
I'm just trying not to kick here.
Oh yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, good. Okay, perfect. So take a few breaths here to let the hips be as heavy as possible. This is another really good low back stretch. And then from here, push into the fabric with your feet a little bit. It's almost like a partial plank. And then your right foot frees its way out. This right leg is going to go 10 times, touching the heel down to the ground, and then lift the leg up as high as you can. And here is 9. No need to rush, just down and up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now bend this right knee, twist it over the left knee, a nice little spinal twist. Beautiful. Recenter your body and then place the right heel inside, dropping the hips down again. Nice and long for that low back. And just enjoy another good inhale. And exhale. Left foot frees its way out. Pushing into the fabric will help you out, making the core a lot more aligned. And at your own pace, our 10 leg lifts, so left heel touches ground and raises up as high as possible. And 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend to the left knee, crossing it over to the right. Another good inhale. And exhale, left foot comes back into the fabric. This time we're going to lower ourselves gently to the floor just with the glutes. So feet stay inside, get a good handful of fabric, and then gently free your shoulders out and slowly lower down to the ground. Keep a hold of that end of the fabric. We're going to need it in just a moment. Good. So keep one of your heels in the fabric where it's at already. The other heel is going to come inside of the other end where our head was. So we've got both feet inside of an end. Good. And from here, just give yourself a break after some of that core movement. So you can let the legs go free left and right, or you can just pause here for a few moments. Feel our breath completely expanding into our lungs. That was definitely a space of vulnerability, getting to places where it's hard to see, doing perhaps funky new things. And so here we get this chance to connect back to Mother Earth, getting to be grounded and supported. So now while we're here laying on our back, what we're going to do is allow the legs to open up as wide as they can, and then legs come together. It's a thing where you're creating your own resistance as if you have a rubber band around your legs. And so the way I like to create that resistance is through really pushing the heels into the fabric the whole time. So a good amount of strengthening through the legs. Let's take a few more rounds. Going nice and wide, and then returning. The amount of strength you get from this is dependent on what you put into it. And let's take 3 more. Two. And 1. And then just relax your legs for a moment, just resting back into the fabric. Taking bridge pose from here, slide the hands in close to the glutes. And then we're gonna roll our hips up and then lift one vertebrae at a time to the highest line that they can travel, and then lower back down, one vertebrae at a time. Just follow the speed of your breath. I like to do a nice inhale to lift, exhale to lower. So let's take 3 more of those. And then rest your glutes again. We've got one more place we're going to try to strengthen from here before we get to free out our legs, just stretching them out. So the last place we're headed is a combination of both things we just did. So first we're going to rise up to that bridge pose. Once we're there, legs open and close. And roll back down. Let's try to aim for 7 of those. Lucky number 7 this morning. Heading for 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And last one. And once you're down, free out both of your heels, hug your knees into your chest, doing a few nice little hip circles. Extend the left leg long onto the ground. This right knee heads into a nice twist to the left. So keep the right shoulder grounded and start twisting that knee open. Okay, when hip returns back down, right leg straightens up to the sky. Grab onto it, pulling it maybe deeper than the first one we did. Right hand holds onto right leg as the leg goes open to the right. Try not to lift left hip up at all, so left hip is very grounded. And right leg lifts back up. Left hand holds onto the outer part of the leg so that we can cross it just halfway over to the left. That 45-degree angle will help us get into the IT band just a bit. Good. Return the hip down. Shoot this right leg down to the ground. Left knee comes in. So then into a nice twist to the right. Hips down, left leg up to the sky. Left hand guides the left leg open to left. And then leg back up. Right hand takes over to take you into the IT band stretch. Just 45-degree line over to that right side. And hip down. Once we're there, let's rock up to a seated place. We're gonna take a wrist lock, prayer position hands. The prayer position hands dive into the fabric. Once you're there, turn the thumbs down. Scoop toward the face, under, and then flip it all the way up. And then separate your shoulders, your hands as wide as shoulders before you grip on. Go the other way. Yep, just like that. Okay, so from here, grip on nice and strongly. Lift the hips up. And then 10 times we're gonna do a little pull-up. Coming up and down. Hips don't have to touch all the way down for this one. 9, 8, keep the breath going. Exhale, 7, inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and settle the hips down. Free out the hands, shaking them out for a moment. Okay, we're gonna try a really fun, but also a little bit hard way to get into a downward facing dog. You're gonna try it just 2 or 3 times. If it doesn't work, I'll show you another way to get into it. So the fabric is right in front of your face right now. Hug around it, coming through the front side. The hands go to the inside and wrap around once to grab on. Once you've got that grip, what you're going to try to do is lift yourself part way up, reach around grabbing the heels, and then just set yourself down through the hips into a nice downward facing dog. So try 2 or 3 times, yes, setting it right on those hip bones. If that doesn't work for anybody, you'll just come up to stand, place it on your hip bones, and come into it this way instead. Good. Lifting up your toes if it's not too much pressure for your hips. Let yourself wag your hips left and right. Nice loosening for that low back. Good. Now toes go to the ground. You can either stay in normal downward facing dog or kick the right leg wide, catch the toes on the outer part of the fabric, and then straighten the leg up into a nice standing split. You want to catch on the outside just because that's safer for the hips. Yeah, if you ever need to come out and come back into it, don't feel bad at all. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that gets you set up just in the right spot. Tomorrow you're on the inside, kick it on the outside instead. That's it. Good, let's take 2 more breaths for this right leg. And then just bend the right knee after that second exhale. Release the toes down. So left leg kicks wide so that the toes catch on the outside. Maybe toes can straighten up, but we do want the foot on the ground to stay. So if straightening the leg lifts the other foot up at all, don't feel like you have to. And one more deep breath in. Exhale, start to slide it down. We're either in down dog just a little bit longer or take a good 5 breaths with a hip hang, lifting up the toes, hug around the shins. Last good inhale. Exhale, hands and toes down. Walk your feet forward into a nice forward fold. You're standing on your own accord. Just release in this forward fold a few extra breaths. Bend the knees, roll your way up to stand. Flip the fabric behind you, catching yourself under the armpits. I like to even go under shoulder blades, so it's a little bit further down. And then from here, you're gonna just walk yourself forward like you're sitting in a floating chair. So your hips are right under plumb line. All the muscles of your abdomen are completely relaxed so that your hips can just drop and hang. You can either just be right here. Sometimes this hits the low back perfectly. Some days I want to add motion. So sometimes I'll twist the knees to one side or to the other side. Sometimes I'll take one of my ankles up onto the other thigh. And sometimes I'll do little frog leg circles, just kind of circling the knees out. And then as I go back, they're in. So anything that feels good for that low back and the hips. Take another couple of breaths. If your arms ever feel like they're going dead, just straighten your legs. That's where we'll all join up in just a few more breaths. Okay, if your legs aren't straight already, go ahead and take them there. You can either just have hands behind the head to just rest backwards, or I like to clasp my hands behind the back and then pull them away from me just a little bit for a nice shoulder stretch. Another good breath in, and then out. Release, walk backwards until you're standing up on your own accord. Free yourself out of the fabric. And let's take just a couple of nice leg stretches. So take your right ankle into the fabric. The left hand grabs over to the right side or pushes along the outside of both. And then the other arm opens up behind you. Sorry, I'm not mirroring you right now. Good. One hand, we face back forward, one hand grabs onto each strand. You either slide down for the easier hamstring stretch like a piston, or slide hands up for the nice splits. Okay, squeezing our thighs together to come back. We're gonna switch sides. You can either step this foot out, step the other foot in, or the swinging switch is locking the leg straight to step one foot in, the other foot out. Just don't bend at the knee. That'll be the one thing that'll make you fail through that one. You got it. Okay, so from here, first thing's that twist. Right hand grips to left strand or pushes along the outside of both. And the left arm opens up behind you, the other way. There you go. Feel that nice IT band stretch again, especially if you can get the leg to cross past midline in front of you. Beautiful. Face forward, grip on, either slide hands down or slide them up for the splits. Good, coming back. Take this foot out. And we've got another fun little funky thing we're gonna do. This one, we need to be sitting on the inside exactly like we were before. So take the front of your fabric, wave it out, and you only want enough that it will cover up your thighs. So just sit in just a little bit into the fabric. Once you're sitting inside, take all this extra fabric that's behind you, swing it all the way over to your right side. And once you're there, take both heels into the fabric off to that right side. So I turn this into a forward fold. I lean forward. You'll see that if you push your elbow out, you'll have two good spaces where you can just dangle your arms down. You have to go all the way in front of your shoulder in front of this part of the fabric though. Yep, that's it. Okay, so from here, take your left foot and place your left foot on the part of your fabric that's under your thighs right now. You want to completely cover up the toes and everything. Okay? Once you're here, we're going to prepare to come up to stand. So bend both of your knees. Reach each hand onto each side. And then pop your knees off the front so that you're in kind of like a prep plie kind of position to stand up. So yeah, your knees are off ski-wampus right now, but just grab on high and then stand all the way up. You've got one foot on each end. Okay? Good. If your shoulders ended up behind, grip over your head. It's a thumbs down grip onto each side. Good. You got it. Okay, and now all we're gonna do is head into a nice splits position. So you're facing toward your right foot. If you've got that mirror in front of you, you're trying to hide the right hip by turning the left toward that right foot. Take another good breath in. And then exhale, squeeze your inner thighs together. Bring your hips inside the part where your left foot is. And then you can shake the right foot out and then just come to sit on that front edge. Okay. Legs stack free off the front. And second side. So take all the excess fabric around the left side of your body. Take both of your heels into it. Couple of breaths with this nice forward fold. And then to prepare to stand, our right foot needs to step all the way into the part that's under our thighs. Toes covered and everything. Once you've got that foot in, bend both knees, reach up high. Come to the low squat, popping the knees free. And then once you come to the low squat, you stand directly up. A thumbs down grip over each shoulder onto each side. And turn to face your hips toward that left foot as you start to head into the splits. One more good breath in. And exhale, squeeze your inner thighs together. Shake out your left foot this time. And then have yourself sit a lot further back this time. You can take up a lot more of the fabric. If anybody wants one last inversion here, such as vampire or just leaning backwards to wrap the legs one more time, that can be one last little release for that back that we've stretched out so much. If anybody is already ready at this moment for Shavasana, you can just release to Shavasana. So personal preference, wherever your body's at, take those last poses or find your ultimate Shavasana release here. Just breathing and being with yourself. Begin to deepen inhales and exhales. Introducing little movements back to the body, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching the body out like it's waking up first thing in the morning. Sometimes it's nice shoulders going left and right. Sometimes a fetal position is awesome. Rocking all the way onto the side body on one side. And then letting yourself curl in like a tight little ball and arc all the way back. If you're doing the fetal positions, make sure you take a little bit of time to each side. And eventually, at some point, we'll feel ready to rise up to a nice seated position. So when you feel ready, start to work your way up just to show me that's where you're at. Okay. Hands joined together in front of the heart. And we honor ourselves for all the little vulnerabilities that we let ourselves experience today. Perhaps funky new things that our body didn't know it could do. Perhaps strong things. Realizing, wow, I did something very cool just then. And so realize the whole time you were supported by the ground, supported by the fabric, supported by all the people that showed up today. And so with that support to lead us into a greater open-heartedness, a greater trust and vulnerability, let's allow ourselves to wrap up the wonderful time we got to share together with a sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.
Namaste.